Progesterone and progesterone function is a hot topic right now in the fertility and reproductive health space. And I think this is because many women are choosing to delay motherhood. And as you get older, your progesterone function and your hormonal balance and how you balance your hormones changes. Does this mean that just because you're getting older, your progesterone function is doomed to be deficient? No, but it simply means there are things that you need to know how to do that are going to help you have abundant progesterone function, aka good hormonal balance. But today I want to share the number one thing that you need to be doing in order to have good progesterone function. And this is something that I don't see spoken to a lot, and today we're going to talk about it. But first, I want to remind you, I'm Bianca, a fertility diet and lifestyle coach, a professionally trained chef, and a certified holistic nutritionist. And I help people get and stay pregnant, and I hope to do the same for you. So progesterone is important because it is the implantation and stay pregnant hormone. If you have progesterone deficiency, you will have implantation issues or potentially just unexplained infertility, meaning you're just not getting pregnant. Pregnancies are not implanting. Or you might be experiencing losses because your progesterone function is just not enough to maintain pregnancy, because that is the hormone that does so. And progesterone is the hormone that kicks in after ovulation or after a conception attempt. It is what helps us build a nice, strong lining. And if there isn't an embryo to further feed progesterone development and function as the pregnancy grows, then your progesterone drops, you get your period. And so that is why having strong progesterone function and good hormonal balance in the body, meaning your estrogen is in balance, so it's not bullying your progesterone, and meaning that your progesterone has everything it needs in the environment that it needs to be healthy and abundant and balanced. If you don't have those things together, pregnancy is going to be a challenge. It just is. Progesterone is so important. And one of the things that I think that people really miss about progesterone is that you will be getting clues as to a dysregulation well before unexplained infertility or multiple miscarriages. How it will show up is you are always spotting during your after ovulation until your period. Whether you're trying to have a baby or not, you're just spotting, you'll wipe, it looks like you're getting your period. Then you don't get your period. And it will also look like a lot of PMS symptoms. So as your progesterone struggles, you'll start to get breast tenderness, brain fog, irritability, all of that. It really points to progesterone issue. But one thing that really concerns pregnancy and progesterone is the luteal phase. If you don't have good progesterone and it can't kick in when it needs to after ovulation, then what is going to happen is that your luteal phase is going to be shorter. And that means that there isn't enough time for a pregnancy to implant and strongly implant, because you need about a 12 to 15 day luteal phase in order for that to really happen. But if your luteal phase is 7 days, 9 days, you're having very short periods, but you're ovulating, within a certain time frame, but then you're having your period very shortly after, that is a number one sign that there are progesterone issues. But today I want to talk about the number one thing that people are getting wrong about fixing your progesterone and getting it to work like you want it to. So when your body is stressed, when you are chronically stressed and your body is not able to rest, you are going to do the most damage to your progesterone in that state. Chronic stress and exhaustion and fatigue are environments where progesterone function cannot really thrive. And the reason being is that when your body is chronically stressed, it sends a signal to the body that we are not in a safe position to be vulnerable. Pregnancy is a very vulnerable situation. You are not necessarily in a position to fight for yourself because you're pregnant. You're in a condition, as I used to like to say. But I digress. If you are constantly in a state of stress, your sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone, really start to dysregulate. Now, the thing about estrogen is it's a pretty strong one. And if anything, you find estrogen dominance. But we generally find progesterone deficiency because, especially when the body is stressed, whether that is from stresses that are happening because a cortisol response because of your blood sugar being imbalanced, your gut health, it could be because of that, but it could also be because of like lifestyle, chronic stress, not getting enough sleep, burning the candle at both ends. Regardless of where it's coming from, when your body is in a constant state of stress, it deprioritizes fertility. And how it deprioritizes fertility, because I say that all the time, but what I mean by that is it starts to shut off and not really value making things like progesterone. Because it's like, we don't need that right now. We are fighting for our life. We are running for our life. We're not trying to get pregnant. We're not trying to stay pregnant. So we don't need those hormones right now. And all of the energy in our body is diverted to like staying alive under this perceived stress. Now, imagine for many of us, this perceived stress is, again, from things that you're doing as far as your diet and your lifestyle, but also from lifestyle factors that can maybe be controlled. And that is why rest, relaxation, boundaries, going inward, protecting your peace, those are all euphemisms to say working on my progesterone function. Because when your body is in a relaxed state, it feels warm, it feels nourished, it feels open, it feels safe. That is when those hormones are in excellent supply. Of course, because you're, funding them with good whole foods, single ingredient foods, etc. But when rest and relaxation is prioritized in addition to all of these other things, that's when all of these other things that you're trying to do to improve your fertility actually sink in. So many people will come to me and they're like, I eat the perfect food, I do this, I do everything perfectly. So they're already kind of in a state of stress because they're trying to be perfect. But they're still like living a very highly stressed life. And they're wondering why it's just not clicking. And it's like, that is the click right there. That is the thing that makes everything clickable, is being in a relaxed state, lowering the cortisol in your body, because that will lower the inflammation in your body. When there's inflammation, many things struggle, especially hormone balance. And when it comes to progesterone, I will also say this. If you are someone that has struggled with progesterone your whole life, short luteal phases, short periods, spotting, all of those things, then even before you get pregnant, it's worth talking to your care provider about maybe taking a progesterone supplement so that if you are trying, there is some resource there in support of all of the other things we're doing physically and emotionally and lifestyle-wise, but just another support there that can help you stay pregnant as you work into your first trimester and into your second and third. Because generally, if you are supplementing with progesterone, you get pulled off it at the 12th week, because by that point, they're like, okay, we're here. I digress. Actually, that's not a digression. That's more of just like to add. That said, it's very important that you understand the environment with which you have the control over, and that's your body. And when I say things like protecting your peace and boundaries, that means that if you feel tired and you have a workout booked, you're supposed to go running with a friend, and you're super tired and your body's just like, nope, I can't do it. You need to say, I can't do it. Prioritize rest, because if your body is telling you I am tired, it is saying I don't have the resources to do many other things. I need to restore myself. You have to listen to that, because if you start running on fumes, you know where the fumes are taken from? Fertility, reproductive health. That's where all of the energy is pulled from, just so that you can go on the run or go to the cocktail party or get up for this or that or the other thing. One thing about progesterone is it loves having your priorities straight, because if you are trying to heal your hormonal health, there's a lot of things that you have to sort of remove. Staying up late, waking up super early after staying up late, drinking a lot, eating a lot of processed foods, like all of the things that are causing stress in your life and your body, you have to give those up. But that's because your priorities are straight. So I always say that in client sessions, is like, progesterone loves when your priorities are straight, because it means that you're doing all of the things daily to make sure that your body feels safe, nurtured, cared for, etc. But that is the thing that I see missed the most in the conversation about progesterone is like, yes, there are foods that we can eat, habits that we can adopt, things that we must do in terms of habits. But one of the most important factors is that you rest. And you realize that going at a slower speed, being in flow as opposed to being in force, is all about creating an environment that progesterone thrives in. And so you have to look at your life. Another thing that is in my Mama Bear, it's my fertility rejuvenation program. One of the things that's in there is the stress audit, because it's so important to know where your stresses are. If you join that program or you choose to work with me, we kind of just assume that there are some like physical stresses, blood sugar imbalances, gut stuff, all of that. We just assume that. But when it comes to life stresses, what stresses you out and what stresses me out are two very different things. Like I might not be even fazed by something that like makes your blood pressure go through the roof and vice versa. And so doing something like the stress audit that lives in the Mama Bear program helps you identify what your stresses are so that you can actually put things in place to truly manage it. Because there's so much advice out there of just like manage your stress, lower your stress, but how? First is about identifying. And so that is one of the things that I could suggest to you is, again, we just assume that there's things going on with blood sugar and gut and liver. So we know that there's stress there. We fix that. However, also understanding where the stress comes in your life allows you to then get to work at putting the boundaries up and knowing like what to say yes to, what to say no to, etc. But like I said, the number one thing that you can do for your progesterone is relax. Rest, take a beat, because when you are always on the front foot and just like vibrating, that is no place for conception to take place. When it comes to your fertility journey, it seems like, and it can feel like there's so many things to do. I have to raise my progesterone. I have to track my cycle. I have to eat a fertility diet. I have to exercise, but I have to think of these things before I exercise. And it can seem like it's a lot of things. And initially it might be. But what I want you to remember is that in and of all of that, you want to make sure that it is done in an environment of like safety and rest and nurturing. Because if you're doing all the things and it's like in a stressful way and it's out of like a breakneck speed and you have to do everything all at once, that is making you stressed. And progesterone hates that. Estrogen hates that. Hormones hate it. Your body hates it. And so if it is easier for you to do one thing at a time and have it become a habit and then move on to the next thing, and that feels a lot less stressful and a lot less pressure, do that. There is no race to the finish line. I know sometimes it can be made to feel that way, but you have to make sure that you are taking care of you, because ultimately when it comes to egg quality, when it comes to sperm quality, ovarian quality, all of it, it lives in you. And so if you are stressed, if you are inflamed, if you are chronically worried, if you are not taking care of yourself in pursuit of this goal, you are completely missing the mark. So I hope that you take this as your permission to relax, to reset, to rest. And if you like this video, please like it, please share, please comment, and of course, please subscribe. I love having you here. I love giving you practical advice, hopefully in a hopeful and inspiring package to show you that you are in control when it comes to your fertility journey. You just have to know the information, and hopefully you get it here.